my chains. You know that, right?
Yeah, any questions on the tree or what I'm doing here to get this stuff? Good there? And then your table, and then your expected number is 2.4. And you could do like 0 times 0.008 plus 1 times 0.096 plus 2 times this plus 3 times this. That'll still get you 2.4. Or some of you are starting to see there's a little shortcut. Questions on this table at all? How many had the table correct? Like the numbers at the bottom. Okay, cool. Anything I can help with? How many got a question? Or you're still celebrating your victory? Celebrating your victory. Okay. Get the packet out that I gave you yesterday. Flip to the back. We're gonna take some notes. Some more vocabulary. I know that's everybody's favorite. Like the back page is blank, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna do some notes there.
Yeah, like 2 years ago. I'm pretty sure it started in 17 and ended in 18. Yeah, 17 and 18. It's almost like things that I say make sense.
Almost.
That's okay, you're just acting like my weird. I shouldn't say
What's
that.
that? Yeah,
What's an insult? No, not you. You're not acting like my mother. Got the pig acting like my mother.
So this is exactly 2. If I said at least 2, then you would do that. You would have at least 2 for you. So, start writing the notes on the back. There's 4 things that we have to know, that you have to know. I know them. The definitions of, and then, like, it matters a lot. Like a lot of definitions I don't really spend too much time on. But these matter because they will big time affect the way that you do the math. So you have to understand what these are. Back to the packet. Didn't I have a packet yesterday? So the back is blank. So I don't know how to draw this on my typing, but disjoint and mutually exclusive can be one of 2 things. It could be events A and B don't overlap, like they have nothing in common, they can't have it at the same time. But there's also room for other possibilities. Or it could be events A and B cannot overlap, and there's no room for other possibilities. The big thing mutually exclusive and disjoint mean is they cannot happen at the same time. So getting a C in stats, getting a B. Those are mutually exclusive. Those are disjoint. They cannot happen at the same time. Wait a little bit. Because I'm tall. The fact that it pisses you off is just like an added benefit. Does this help? I can't scroll up anymore either. if you roll a die and get an even number, getting an odd number, those will be mutually exclusive. Rolling a 1, rolling a 5, those are mutually exclusive. There's a big difference between those two things, though. I'll let you write. I don't know. Speak on it.
Something that's a little bit easier to do.
Okay. So I want to clarify the difference between between these two situations. So rolling a die and getting an even number. So if I were to make a little diagram out of this, and we'll get more into Venn diagrams as we go, but even numbers and odd numbers are all of the possible things that there are, right? So they are disjoint, they're mutually exclusive, it's the same thing. They can't happen together. And in this case, are there any other possibilities? No. In this case, rolling a 1 and rolling a 5, they can't happen together, like I can't roll one die and get both, but are there other possibilities? Yes. So both of those cases are mutually exclusive. The next one, complement, has to be this one. So there's a difference between complement and mutually exclusive. Complement is like a more specific kind of mutually exclusive. So yeah, they can't happen at the same time. But also, there's no other possibilities. So mutually exclusive can be even. There could be other possibilities, there might not. Complements is specifically, there's no other options. So complements are events that cannot happen at the same time, and there are no other possibilities. A and B fill up the entire box. Does that make sense what I'm saying there? You might want to draw a picture next time. I just can't draw a picture while I'm typing. But that's what I'm trying to get to, is this idea where there's no room for anything else. So if you're rolling a regular die, what's the complement of rolling a 1? Like if I put a 1 in A, what goes in B? 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Is it what? The complement of heads would be tails. What's the complement of heads? Tails. So, does that answer your question? It didn't really. Say your question again. because a coin flip only has two possibilities, it's going to be compliments. Yeah, I think that's what you're trying to get to. Okay. What's the complement of being in AP Stats 5th hour? I was thinking more like what's the complement of you being in this room right now? You not being in this room right now, right? So I'd say like being in any other class. What if you stop being a jerk? You get what I'm saying, right? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few here, and you're going to tell me if they're mutually exclusive, disjoint, complements, both, neither. So list all of the things that these are. Hold on. So you can just put like C for complement, mutually exclusive, disjoint, or neither. That doesn't really work. I guess you can be kind of a jacket. It entered my brain, but I decided not to. I'll put that up here. Yeah, that's why we're practicing. Try those. ME and DJ are the exact same. Try those 9. What? Is it possible to be complements but not? Yeah, it's supposed to be yes or no. What other type of answer would you get?
I don't know. I was thinking it could have been compliments.
It's disjoint.
Oh, because it's not like C, ME, DJ, or neither. That's what you're saying. Yeah, that's so number 9 is a yes no question.
The answer is neither.
I think I'm giving more notes than that page. I'm realizing because we're only done with 2 of the 4 words. So you might want to get out your notes, like your actual notebook. How many would like more time? All right, let's go. We're ready to go? Anybody still want time? Okay, that's fine. I go to the bathroom anyway.
I suppose. Sure. Yeah. Why else not just such language? I mean, yeah, all the time. At this point. Everything. She wore the sweater.
Okay, quiet please. So having an A in this class, having a B in this class, those are mutually exclusive, they are disjoint. Are they complements?
No.
No, because they're not the only two things that could happen. You could get a C, you could get a D, you could fail. Rolling a 1 and rolling a 3. Mutually exclusive, disjoint because they can't happen at the same time. Are they complements? No, because you can get other stuff. AP stats, not AP stats. Those can't happen together. Are they complements? Yeah, there's no other option really. You either take it or you don't. Stats and calc, mutually exclusive, disjoint. Are they complements? Nope. I keep writing me, DJ. That's fine. Yeah. Oh! No. Those are not mutually exclusive, are they? Can you take both? Yeah, like raise your hand if you're taking both. I just like completely ignored that you guys existed. I'm sorry. So this isn't either. I was thinking, yeah, I just got in the habit of typing like mutually exclusive. I'm going to MHS, taking a math class. What's that? Can you do both?
Yeah.
I would think so. So that's neither. So mutually exclusive has to mean they cannot overlap. They can't happen at the same time. And these can happen at the same time. You can go to MHS and take a math class. You all are doing it right now. Passing I mean like one specific class. I don't know if I was clear on that, but like passing this class, failing this class. Can those happen at the same time? No, so that's mutually exclusive. That's disjoint. Are there any other options? No, you're either going to pass or fail, so that's also complements. Passing, so again, I mean this class. I'm not sure how clear that was, but passing this class and getting a B in this class, can those happen at the same time? Yeah. If you're getting a B, you are passing, so that's neither. Failing this class, getting a B in this class, or can those happen at the same time? Nope, so that's disjoint and mutually exclusive. Are there other options? Yes, you could get an A or a C, for example, so they're not complements. And this last one, is it possible to be complements but not mutually exclusive? It is not. So complements is like a subset. So let me write it up here. Complement is a subset of disjoint, where there are no other possibilities. So if it's complement, it's automatically mutually exclusive and disjoint. And we'll keep practicing these. I know it's not the simplest thing the first time you see it to wrap your head around. But let me go to the next part. So independence versus dependence. Two events are independent if they have zero impact on each other. That's the same thing, fancier wording. I know you don't want to write it all, but do it anyways. Because it's just a different way to think about it. Two events are independent if I know one thing is true does not change the probability of the other thing being true. So completely unrelated. Then so I'm just going to put up some examples here and we'll talk through whether they are dependent or independent. Like if you're independent from your parents, like if someone moves out, like I'm independent now, that means you have nothing to do with your parents. We got our independence from England. We're not part of, we have nothing to do with them. We're not related, no impact on each other. So like if I said to you, what are you going to wear to school March 3rd? You might say it depends. And it depends on maybe the weather, right? So are your clothing choices and the temperature outside dependent or independent? Dependent. Let's type that in. So clothing choice and weather. So that'd be dependent. What are you going to wear tomorrow? Well, it depends. Right there. Depends. Dependent. Depends on the weather. Depends on, do I have a game I have to dress up for? Whatever. Do I have to, I used to wear a tie every time I went to a test in college because I thought it was look good, feel good, do well. Didn't always work, but it's my strategy. So clothing choice and weather would be dependent. Studying time and performance on test. How'd you do on the test? Does that depend on whether you studied or not? So that's dependent. If I said, color shoe my son wears to school today, and your pre-calc test grade. Independent or dependent? That's independent. What my son wears to school has no impact on your pre-calc test grade. Now, some people will get super nitpicky here and start to argue like, well, if your son wears blue shoes and then you don't like blue shoes, so you're in a bad mood, and then I have your class third hour and you make me in a bad mood because you were in a bad mood because of your son's shoes, and then I'm in a bad mood, so I don't do well. Like, be a little reasonable about it. I mean, you could probably argue almost everything is dependent, but let's try to have some like logic here. Let's say price of a pizza and how much money you have. Independent or dependent? Independent. Whether you buy the pizza might depend on how much money you have, but the price of the pizza, they don't like, how much does this piece of pizza cost? Well, how much is in your bank account? You know, that's not how it works. So those are independent. I want you to try to write two of each. Try to come up with two things that are two situations where the two things are dependent, and then two situations where the two things are independent. Does that make sense what I'm asking? Write two dependents and two independents. And then I'll take some volunteers. Don't tell me what it is, and we'll decide up here together. I'll take one if someone's got one, just to kind of jumpstart the process a little bit. Anybody have a? Go ahead, Tyler. What do we think? Independent or dependent? I think you could argue either way. So, like, are you saying the clothes I choose in the morning and my mood? So, if I'm like looking at my clothes, what am I going to wear? Does my mood impact that? I would say yeah. So I would say that's dependent, but I could also, some people might say, well, no, I don't even think about that. Like, I kind of can understand both there. Yeah, Severino.
How many hours I work a week?
And what?
How much I'm paid?
What's that? That's like dependent AF. It doesn't get much more dependent than that. That's like a straight up relationship. Grace. Family and I are looking to go to Disney next Christmas, and I can tell you that these are very freaking annoyingly dependent. Like, if you go in the summer, it's way cheaper than going in. Like, it's crazy how much it is. Yeah.
Seasons and temperature.
Seasons and temperature. Seasons and temperature, independent or dependent? I need some independent ones. It's easy to come up with the dependent, I guess. Got four of them. Miller. How my day is going. How Trump's day is going. You're saying they're independent? Okay. Does anybody think they're dependent? That's what I mean. Like, it's possible that he could do.
Now you're getting I'm happy about it.
See, but there's like this. Do I argue too much? Yeah, those are probably pretty independent. What else? Yeah. Independent or dependent? Independent. I think. I don't look out, like, what's your favorite food to eat? I don't, like, look outside. Well, today, okay, it's ice cream. Yeah.
I got a question about the season.
Yeah.
Isn't that depending on where you live?
I mean, if you were in a place with no seasons,
I mean, they still got seasons.
They're just small.
yeah, there's still. I think there's still fluctuations in temperature, though, right? It's just like less.
Look, we got Ecuador. They stay the same.
I'm sure they get
They on the equator, bro. They on the equator.
fine in the in the United States. It's like that. Literally on private dollars or something.
Oh my god.
All right, here we go. Here's the temperature throughout the year: 79, 79, 79, 79, 79. I guess you got me. Season and temperature, except Ecuador. I mean, you know what I'm saying, though, right? Okay. What else? Any others? Someone besides Tyler. You already went? Yeah. Shh. Dirtiness of my glasses and choice of purchase at the hardware store. Well, and it's like choice of someone else's purchase, right? My glasses. Independent or dependent? Independent. Here's one. This is the hard one. This is the hard one. If I flip one coin, heads and tails. Don't say it. Think about it. It's harder than you think. So that the rule is, if I know one thing is true, does it change the probability of the other thing being true? So if I flip a coin and I know one of those things is true, does it change the probability of the other one being true? Before you flip the coin, what's the probability that you get heads? 50%, right? So 0.5. If I flip the coin and I know I got tails, now what's the probability that I got heads? 0. Did knowing something was true change the probability? Yes. So that's on one coin. So that's dependent. If I flip one coin, the result of that coin. Let's do it this way. Heads or tails on first flip. Heads or tails on second flip. If I know the first flip was heads or tails, does that change the probability of the second flip? It does not. So that's independent. But within one flip, it's kind of weird. It's actually dependent. Being in this room right now and not being in this room right now, dependent. If I know I'm in this room right now, does that change the probability that I'm not in this room right now? Yeah. All right.